Hello, welcome back to Britain's Secret Treasures.
Now, our next item is really lovely, but little did its finder realise he'd unearthed a clue to one of the most horrific massacres of the medieval age.
Mariella Frostrup investigates.
While walking in fields outside Preston, Paul King, who works in logistics for a supermarket, came across a strange-looking piece of metal sticking out of the ground.
When I knocked the soil away from it, straight away this face came out of the soil, and it was in such good condition that I thought, this is a really super-duper find.
Paul had no idea what or who he had found. Lloyd de Beer from the British Museum joined me at the Museum of Lancashire, where the badge is on display. So what do we have here, Lloyd?
What we have here is very unusual, it's very rare. It's made out of silver, and it represents a virgin saint called St Ursula. And she's renowned for her beauty and her grace, her virtue and her piety.
But this isn't all she was famous for. The fate of St Ursula is one of the most disturbing tales in our history. Ursula lived in Britain in 500 AD. She was a devout Christian at a time when Christianity existed uneasily alongside paganism. According to legend, her father, the local king, wanted her to marry a neighboring pagan prince to make an alliance. She agreed, but only on two unusual conditions.
One of the conditions is that her future husband must become a Christian, must be baptized in the faith. And the second part is that she has to undertake a holy pilgrimage, and she must be accompanied by 10 other virgins, and them to be accompanied by 1,000 other virgins each.
Amazing they could find that many in the country. Surprisingly, her father agreed, and the story goes that she and 11,000 virgins set off on a pilgrimage to Rome. But on their return trip, tragedy struck in Cologne, Germany. And according to the legend, they were all slaughtered in cold blood. Which is why I've come to the city to try and unravel the mystery of this fascinating little object. For years, this seemed like an incredible myth. But then, in the 1300s, builders working on a church in Cologne discovered something truly terrible. This is St Ursula's Basilica, where our little badge, discovered in a muddy English field, started its life. Hi.
Hello.
Mariella.
Nice to meet
Katja.
you.
Oh, my goodness. This is amazing. What have we got in here? What's all that? That's not what I think it is.
It is exactly what you think it is.
These
bones are the human bones which they found when they were doing the foundation of this church.
When Ursula and her entourage of 11,000 virgins stopped off in Cologne on their way home, they attracted the attention of a savage tribe of pagan warriors known as the Hun. They believed that the new Christian faith was destroying their ways, so they executed Ursula and all of her followers. The builders of the church who found these remains decided to honor their memory in this chapel. Quite extraordinary what they've done with them. They've written with them.
Yeah, exactly. You see the words, a prayer, St Ursula pro nobis ora, pray for us.
That's one of the most macabre things I've ever seen in my life. And you know what? I've just realized it doesn't stop there. It goes all the way around that wall as well.
Everywhere. But they are not just only on the walls, they are inside of the busts or behind these glasses.
You mean the skulls inside the busts?
Yes, yes.
I really wouldn't want to be locked in here overnight on my own. But many people did want to spend time here, including the owner of our badge. For dying for her faith, Ursula was made a saint after her death, and in the following years, people from all over Europe flocked to the church. These badges, a bit like modern-day souvenirs, were sold to pilgrims so they could touch them on Ursula's shrine and take a little bit of her saintliness home with them. Somehow, it was lost, only to be found hundreds of years later by Paul King and remind us of this forgotten woman. Her sacrifice as a Christian was one of many, and just 50 years after the massacre, Britain was almost entirely Christian and paganism was dying out. Not only have I got to uncover the story of a sadly neglected saint, but also to follow in the footsteps of an early English pilgrim who braved the long and perilous journey to Ursula's shrine here in Cologne and returned with a much-treasured souvenir.
That badge is a great reminder that religious and spiritual belief can leave us with some wonderful physical objects.